is Paul Warren. I'm a resident of Weymouth, have been for many years. Been involved with music all my life. My dad put me on a couch when I was 6, handed me a cornet, and started to show me how to make a sound and so forth. I went on with music through my younger life. As a student in high school, which was incidentally Somerville, Mass. I was involved with the music program in the schools there, including band and orchestra. Participated in a competitive scholarship as a senior in 1944. Won the brass section of that scholarship, sponsored by the YMCA, and as a result, was able to go to the New England Conservatory of Music. However, before that happened, I was drafted into Uncle Sam's Army and spent a couple of years, better part of a couple of years in Europe. Came back and participated, or went to college, after which I took a job as supervisor of music in 3 small towns in northern Maine. I came down in 1953 to do my graduate work at Boston University, and there's where I met Russell Jack, who at that time was supervisor of music here in Weymouth, and there was an opening, and I came out in 1954, and have been living in Weymouth ever since. Came as a vocal and instrumental music teacher at both elementary and junior high level, and within a few years was doing the high school band and so forth. I was appointed director of music in 1961 when Mr. Jack retired, and it's since then until 1988 where I was involved with the Weymouth Public Schools music program. I spent, let's see, 34 years, I think it was, in the Weymouth schools, and retired in 1988, which is, I don't believe it, it's going on 21 years ago. And I have been more involved personally with music since my retirement than I was able to do as director of music for the whole school community, time-wise. And yes, I'm involved in several kinds of things, including the Wollaston Men's Glee Club for many, many years. The last 10 or 12 years I've been involved with the Roma Band, which is the Italian street band based in the north end of Boston. I have been involved here at the McCulloch School, the Senior Center, with the group of instrumentalists called the Whipple Snappers. And we enjoy coming and playing, again, no music, strictly out of our heads, so to speak, or playing by ear. And it's great fun to come and sit together and play the old tunes. Now, we're going way back to the war years and so forth. And the folks who come in enjoy it to listen and then to dance. We have a lot of dancers here on Thursday mornings, so that's a lot of fun too. Keeping up my playing, even though, if you figured it out, I'm not any youngster anymore. But music has been great for me, to have something to look forward to do, and to be able to maintain some facility, both vocally and instrumentally. I find it's great. And the fact that over the years as a teacher, both in Maine and elsewhere, to have given young people the opportunity to learn, become somewhat independent musically, and have the experience of playing both so-called classical as well as popular music and things, has been a challenge, and it's been gratifying. And if I've given a youngster a facility, I feel I've given him a real gift that will last a lifetime. And I enjoyed it all very much. The difference now is I can do musically what I choose to do, what I most enjoy, and at my own time, as opposed to waiting for going somewhere else when the bell rang, going to a different school or a different room, and so forth. But those are things which happen when you're a music educator. I'm pleased and proud to say that I could look back at the students that I dealt with over the many years, and many of them have gone on to establish themselves musically on Broadway in classical orchestras, as music educators, and it's fun to think back and look back. And I happen to be one who, when I was involved with the program, I'd often get a copy of it and stick it in a folder, so that I can now sit and relax and look back, and the memories that come back are just great. But yeah, the satisfaction of, as I said, of giving youngsters an opportunity, and with some specifics and so forth, but to see them develop and grow and establish themselves and be credited for their accomplishments, and to think if I had a little bit of influence on that or a little bit to do with it happening, I'm very, very pleased. That's my goal. That's my reward, I guess is the word. Learning an instrument or learning music, learning to read music, learning to perceive and understand and interpret are all important elements of your growing up and maturing, and it has many other ways of connecting with other parts of your life that you may not even realize, but the comradeship, the team idea of being part of a team. There's nothing any more satisfying than to have sat with 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 80 people and successfully produced some music. There's no other feeling of accomplishment that can really match that. And music is a universal language, of course. And regardless of language, music speaks to all people, all over the world. And if you have a music interest and facility and learn some techniques for instruments and so forth, that's going to stay with you the rest of your life. Now, you may not be polished on the bassoon or whatever, but with what you have learned will come back to you very easily. My favorite part of teaching, it's hard to pick a favorite, but I had occasion early in my career to be involved with classroom music at the first, second, and third grade levels. Now, these are youngsters who were brand new students. And I always felt that if you gave a youngster at that age the opportunity to hear sounds and to match sounds with their own voice, and to thus be able to carry a tune. Now, many times you'll find kiddos who can't sing, or they say they can't sing. But if you've given them that experience that promotes their being able to hear sound, match sound, and thus carry a tune, I think you've given them the greatest gift possible. That will last the rest of their lives, okay? And to a degree, this carries over to instrumental music too. But that was always a great thrill for me. Obviously, the band experience that I had in terms of conducting and directing, most of my directing personally was with band. And I always was inspired, and if I had a good band and they played well, I was delighted. You know, whether it was on the football field, or whether it was the spring concert, whether it was an exchange concert, or whether it was just kids who from that band earned the right to play in special events, area-wide, national-wide, statewide, whatever. That was a thrill for me. But to give them something musical, to give them some musical experience that will remain with them, and I think is the greatest reward that I have had. Yeah.
First number, Over the Rainbow, that is mainly for the middle school.
My name is John Duff. I'm the band director at Weymouth High School. I've been here since 1998. My background in music began in 4th grade. I started with the snare drum. They had us in a room, about 12 of us with the snare drums, and the teacher there with the earplugs, with the kids with the stick heights up to their ears, and that quickly progressed through the band program. This was in the Hull Public Schools, actually, and when I finally reached the 7th grade, I was invited to join the high school band. After school, the director came down and invited any musicians that were interested to come by a band rehearsal and see if they could, one, hold the drums, you know, for a 7th grader to hold the drum at that age, and two, you know, meet up with the schedule and keep pace with the music. And that was my first real taste of an inspiring band director, was at the high school level, for him to come down and really challenge us to work at our hardest. Well, after my interaction with the high school band director, I was inspired to want to take on a teaching career myself, and so I started looking into what that would entail. And obviously I needed to go to music school. I needed to take some more private lessons to prepare for the career and get some experience. So upon graduation, I went to the University of Lowell, where I studied music education. And in the meantime of my undergrad work, I was invited to help out with a high school program in Lynnfield, Massachusetts, and another high school up in Salem, Massachusetts. It was there that I got my first experiences teaching and working with high school students. And I feel like that gave me the edge that when I got out, I already had known some people in the field. I had known some other teachers that had had careers in the field, and it gave me the experience of just working with students that I had some techniques under my belt, so to speak, and that was the start of it all. There's a variety of things that attracts me to the teaching field. The main one is the rewards that the students get from the music that we work on, to enlightening the rest of their education through music, finding the connections from, well, this piece was written in 1920. Here's what was going on in history at that time. Here's the other musical advances that went on that time, technology advances, etc. Like making all those things connect for them, bringing it all into the real world for them. Obviously, we encourage people to try and continue for careers in music, but it's more than that. It's trying to get them to have an appreciation for it, develop a value system that they will bring into their everyday life. I'm trying to build future leaders of America here. We have some of the brightest students in the band program. Some of the most qualified leaders are involved in the band program, and it's no coincidence. You know, obviously people that have tenacity towards learning an instrument, people that have perseverance towards practicing and maintaining these skills and developing these skills are going to bring those talents and disciplines to whatever field they choose to pursue. Some of my fondest memories working here at Weymouth High School have been the travels that we've been able to undertake with the band. So far we've done 3 trips to Florida, they've all been wonderful. We also did a trip to Williamsburg last year, and I think the worst problem we ever had on a band trip was a pillow fight after hours. You know, these are great kids. They're a lot of fun to work with, and obviously sharing the rewards with them of planning a trip, executing the trip, and performing in another state is a huge reward for them and for all the parents and the teachers involved. We have one coming up in next February. We're working on planning a trip right now where we're going to be including students that are in the band and the chorus. The band parents have been an amazing support system to the Weymouth High School band program. Year after year, they're running huge amounts of fundraisers. For these trips alone that I mentioned to Florida, we're talking about raising between $60,000 and $80,000. Our budget is very limited as to what's provided from the school system or from the town specifically. Thus, the majority of it comes from fundraisers that are done by the Band Parents Association. The number one piece of advice for students that are interested in pursuing a career in music or even pursuing it as a hobby is to get involved. We have a great advantage of having a lot of awesome music programs at the high school between the band, the chorus, and all of the elective programs that we offer here. And students really need to get involved to keep those alive. We offer 3 levels of music writing, including the AP level, which provides college credit for learning how to write music. We offer music technology, 2 levels of music technology. We offer a jazz band program during the day. We offer a rhythm and blues ensemble during the day where students are working on rock charts and having fun applying their instrument to different genres of music, different styles of music. So there is something for everybody. They just need to get involved. They need to sign up for the classes because during the day is when we have the best option of getting the most things done. It should also be known that students that are involved in the career and technical department at Weymouth High School are eligible to participate in the music program. And oftentimes, some of our best musicians come from that field because they use similar skills. Participating in the band program and learning the musical language bridges cultural gaps. Music is the language that speaks all languages, so students that play music in this band could potentially sit in with a group from another country and speak a common language of music. There are numerous studies that have been done to connect our knowledge about the brain as well in music and the power that knowing the musical language brings to all situations, all learning. It uses more parts of the brain than the average subject, whereas certain subjects, let's take math for instance, or language, they use certain parts of the brain. Well, music is using those parts of the brain simultaneously. They can't narrow it down to one specific part of the brain that is the musical side of the brain. It's pinpointing back and forth and using all portions of the brain at the same time. So in that sense, there's a stronger argument for teaching music as a core academic subject. Band has many aspects which make it a positive experience for students. Obviously, the experience of playing in a group, working as a team towards a common goal, those are important attributes. What they bring to the school environment, what they bring to the community, as well as the social aspect of being involved in the band. So it's more than just a benefit to the group, it's a benefit to the school, it's a benefit to the community. And on a more internal level, the students are developing a set of disciplines, a code of ethics in their mind, a code of values in their mind that they will bring to their future experiences.
Hi, my name is Mike Keogh. I'm a 2004 graduate of Weymouth High School. I started playing the trumpet in the 5th grade. I think it was then the Abigail Adams Intermediate School with Mrs. Hanson. All my older sisters played instruments, so it was something that kind of went in the family. First I really wanted to play the euphonium, but that was too expensive, so my parents told me I had to settle on the trumpet instead. So I played the trumpet all the way through high school in the Weymouth schools. Stayed pretty active with that, playing in jazz bands and concert bands. Once I got to high school, there was a little more opportunity there, so I got playing in some of the pit orchestras for the high school musicals. Got really active in the high school marching band. I was the drum major of the band my junior and senior year in high school. Also played in the jazz band of the high school as well, concert band. So right now I'm finishing up a dual degree at UMass Amherst. It's in music education and trumpet performance. So actually this semester I'm out in the schools full-time as a student teacher, teaching down in Rentham, Massachusetts at King Philip Regional High School. Throughout college and while I was at UMass, again, really active as a trumpet player. Typically when you get to college, you kind of have to specialize in one instrument. So even though in high school I did my best to try and play all those other ones too, and once I got to college I was classified as a trumpet player anyways. But the trumpet actually took me pretty far during college too. I got to play at the marching band at UMass. I was in the marching band at Weymouth High School, and we had about 45 people. And I got to UMass and we had about 400 people in the trumpet section of 50 or 60 people. So I was a welcome change anyways in terms of sound and just the amount of people that you got to interact with. While I was in the band, I was a section leader of that huge section for 3 years. I played solos with the band for my last two. Actually, my last year too, I was elected the student director of the marching band. So at times when the director had to step away from the rehearsal, I get up and start rehearsing this 400-piece monstrosity of a band. But that was a great experience. I think there's a lot to be gained from playing in any sort of musical group besides the skill and the proficiency they gain on your instrument. There's so many qualities that we look for in job applicants nowadays that are really fulfilled by participating, I think, in music. There's the aspect of teamwork. I talked about coaching chamber groups in a high school right now, and chamber groups require teamwork. When you've got no conductor, no leader to lead you, how are you as a group going to interact and create positive decisions for what you're trying to do and what you're trying to achieve? And how are you going to work towards creating that or achieving that sort of unified goal? Teamwork is huge. Obviously, leadership experience, I got a ton of it. You know, oftentimes in music, you're the only one playing your part. So we achieve leadership through musicianship. By teaching our students to be musicians, we're also teaching them to be independent thinkers. And how are you going to phrase that line? And how does that react to what everyone else is, or how does it interact with what everyone else is doing right now? I think that the importance of being able to think independently is something that music really stresses that maybe other academic subjects don't as much. I think music really requires you to use many parts of your brain at the same time. There's the creative aspect, there's the aspect that my finger needs to go down at this time, there's the aspect that I need to watch the conductor, there's the aspect I need to listen, I need to tap my foot to stay in time. There's so many aspects of your brain and your body that are at play at the same time. The music, I think, is really just exercise for your brain in a very positive way. I think one of the really excellent things about music is that it offers insight into different cultures. How one particular culture moves and how they dance informs the dance rhythms that they're going to use in their music, and the folk tunes that they sing are influenced by their heritage, and we're fortunate as musicians to then take that transcription almost of their heritage, and again make informed decisions using all the other things that we come across in school to really interpret life around the world and life in 1750. What was Beethoven really trying to say in Eroica? You know, take a look at his context, take a look at who's paying him, take a look at, you know, he might have just been writing the symphony because he needed to earn a living, or maybe there's a greater message that he's trying to get across. It's really, I think it goes back to creative problem solving and creative thinking. Music really offers this insight into a very personal part of themselves. One of the big aims behind teaching music right now is not just teaching music and not just teaching students how to play music, but again, it's teaching them the whys of music. Why did someone compose this? Why is this important? Again, engaging them in critical thinking and sharing ownership of the classroom too. I'd say that's one of the big changes in education now, is that we're trying to share ownership over all the knowledge that we're presenting and posing questions in a way that allow students to generate some of that knowledge on their own. We're not just giving them the knowledge, we're asking them to, we're saying here's X and here's Y. Can you formulate thoughts based on what I told you? And the other thing that we really focus on in school right now too is almost the legal aspects of why music is important and really required in the classroom too. There's generally a huge debate when it comes to music programs. Are they essential during the day-to-day, or is it something that we continue after school? And we really do have a legal responsibility to offer music in the schools. There's things like No Child Left Behind, and often we focus on the aspects of No Child Left Behind, like are students achieving reading and writing? Are they achieving high levels of math? And that's what things like MCAS measure. But No Child Left Behind also includes the arts. It defines arts as one of the core subjects that need to be offered during the school day. We've got these Massachusetts arts curriculum frameworks as well too. There are standards set forth by the state that are in line with national standards for music education. There are things that we're supposed to be teaching students. So, as funding drops or as we're not able to, really prepare students, we're not meeting these guidelines. It's just not very evident right now because there's no MCAS for music. So I think that'll be a big issue just to discuss for music education down the line, is how we really assess student learning in music. Because right now all we have are performances, and I think because that's all we have, the public kind of takes us for granted sometimes, and they consider that music education is for entertainment purposes, and that's not what it's for at all. It's to really educate students about the world that they live in through the medium of music. So I think down the line there's definitely going to be debate, and I think we'll get to a point too where we almost have some sort of MCAS for music and way to assess that. Because until then, I think we'll still be fighting that battle. Is music really essential to the curriculum, or is it something extracurricular? I was really fortunate to be part of the Weymouth High School music program. It's something that's definitely a part of my current success right now. And it's really important, I think, too, that the community take an interest in what the students are doing, too. They really work extremely hard. I can speak from experience doing all of those things, having after-school rehearsals until 10 o'clock every night. But I really think we need, as a community, to match the student efforts, and we need to do it backing them financially, too. All these programs that they put on they're expensive. To send a group anywhere on any given day requires 2 or 3 buses, an equipment truck. We need to make sure that all the equipment is loaded correctly, and that occasionally the instruments are damaged along the way. So there's instrument repairs. There's all the uniforms that go into all these things too. When we rented Tuxus for the Night of the Pops, those things all cost money, and if we really want to involve a lot of students in it, it requires more money and more financial support from the community. So I know it's something that's made a huge difference in my life. So I guess I would ask members of the community out there, if music is an important part of what Weymouth is to you, to consider backing this group financially in some way. Right now it's done almost entirely by Weymouth Band Parents Association. They're out there collecting bottles and cans and doing sub-drives, and those are all wonderful things, I think, for them to do, and it's a great way to show that we're involved in our student musicians too. But wouldn't it be really great to have these students represent us at the state and or at the national level, and not have to stress the students out about paying their way to go do these things? To step up as a community and to say that music is important to us, and because music's important to us, we're going to support the efforts of our young musicians in this town.